Guys, welcome to What's Barking Local. My name is Jerry Miller. It's great to be with you. We are live on the I Love CVille Network in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. Today's show, an epicenter of everything positive in the animal community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia and the Commonwealth.
Oof.
Patty Zeller, our star of our program, the entrepreneur, the visionary, and the businesswoman behind Animal Connection. For almost 19 years in McIntyre Plaza, guys, she has done an absolute service of bringing positive energy to our animal community. And I'll tell you what, Judah Wickhauer, our director, let's go to the two-shot and let's welcome Patty to the program. Good afternoon, Patty. How are you?
I am good. I'm just trying to live up to that introduction.
I know you will have no problem. You're about a year of doing What's Barking Local.
It's almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years
Yeah.
of doing What's
See how
Barking
time
Local.
flies?
It is flying when we're having fun.
We are having fun.
Tell us about the week and what's going down in your world.
Oh my God, if you guys were not at Animal Connection over the weekend, you missed out. It's probably one of the best photo shoots I've ever seen Miette Michi and Jen Skipper do. Maybe it was Valentine's, which may sound kind of cheesy, but boy, they had a beautiful set. The dogs are great. Our good pal, Erica Renee Proctor, brought 4 kids and 4 dogs in one shot. Everybody sat pretty. Even the kids were good as gold. The dogs were good as gold. It was just a great afternoon. And then we all decorated those Valentine's dog cookies. So that was quite the project. That was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be.
So it was a hit?
It was a hit. I think people really enjoyed it. The kids really enjoyed it. They would have stayed all day. I think we want to have a job swap.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I would be excited for the
Yep.
job swap.
Yep.
Always busy times at Animal Connection.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What is on the horizon for you?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm getting ready for the biggest trade show in the world. It's 16 football fields of pet supplies. And 3 days, and all the latest and greatest in the entire world is going to be there. And I am speaking at one of the panels.
Nice.
Yeah, so getting ready for that in 2 weeks. And gosh, we have lots of other events coming up. You're just going to have to check our page and see what's going on. I mean, everything from National Walk the Dog Day, Dog Biscuit Day, Leap Day is coming, and everything in the store is going to be hugely discounted and some fun and games. There's a ton happening.
You always have a ton happening, and today's show epitomizes that as well.
Yeah.
You welcome 2 rock stars to the program.
Absolutely. Well, one thing we want to do at Animal Connection and at What's Barking Local is family pets are very important, but we also want to talk about breeds of dogs that do different jobs in the area. I mean, whether it's herding or canine police or therapy, whatever it is, dogs are bred to do a job, and I feel really bad sometimes when a dog like maybe a border collie is in an apartment the whole time. And, they need to get out and do what they're bred to do and exercise. And so we're going to talk about that today. These are my friends, Kate Ahnstrom and Neal Kauder, and the lovely Lily, the Llewellyn Spaniel. Setter, sorry.
Well-behaved.
Oh my gosh,
one of the most well-behaved dogs ever.
Yeah. And Neal trains dogs for bird hunting. And but they're also family pets. They do obedience, and they're therapy dogs. So, yeah. And Kate's part of this circus.
Why don't we go ladies first?
Kate got me into this circus, so here we go.
Kate Gail Atkinson says hello. Introduce
Nice.
yourself to the viewing public.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Kate Ahnstrom. I'm the owner of Virginia Shooting Sports. We are a wing shooting and sporting clays school, and we specialize in just educating people in a safe, fun, and very engaging environment to the clay shooting community. And love to be able to get people a chance to be able to get behind wonderful dogs like Lily and some of the other Llewellyns that Neal has. And just part of the big excitement when you go out into the field is really watching these dogs work and seeing what they can do. And especially when Neal drops 2 and 3 dogs at a time, and you've got 1 dog on point, and then you have 2 other dogs just like statues, just honoring that 1 dog and seeing the relationship between handler and dogs and what these fantastic animals can do. And they absolutely love their job.
How'd you get into this?
Oddly enough, I started probably about 8 or 9 years ago, just a little part-time job at a clay field. just something to do and occupy some time. And now here I am, a certified Paragon instructor at the Paragon School of Sporting, and I'm very blessed. This is what I get to do all the time and travel the world and enjoy meeting people like Patty and Neal and yourself and having a great time with bird dogs and just getting out there in the clay community.
I love it, Neal. Your turn to shine here.
Yeah, so Lily and I are associated with Orapax Hunting Preserve in Goochland, Virginia. My in-laws own that property, and my wife owns the preserve itself. The business, along with myself, and we run the largest public preserve in the state. So that's
beautiful property.
700 acres on the James. Actually has some relations to Charlottesville in that the property is the home of Thomas Jefferson's sister. I think it's Mary Bowling Jefferson. And so that's the site of Thomas Jefferson's sister. He would ride down from Scottsville down Route 6 and visit his sister on that property. So there are some connections to Charlottesville as a side. But we've been doing this business. My father-in-law started this business back in the 80s. It's been going on a long time. We took it over about 7-8 years ago and have grown it 20-25% every year since.
Wow.
And so
that's amazing.
It's been quite a growth trajectory of increased hunts. We have 9 guides that we can use at any given time. We can put out 10 hunts at a time. It's a neat spot. My wife likes to call it the 700-acre dog park.
It really is.
So the fact that you can take your dogs there and have those open spaces, my father-in-law's dream was to maintain those open spaces as long as he could, and that was why he purchased that property back in the early 80s.
I'm going to relay some perspective from the viewers, then hand the show to you.
Nice.
Jonathan Pearson says, "Go, Neal, go."
Hey, John.
Hey.
If you have any perspective,
We
you'd
miss
like
you.
to pass it along, give it to, put it in the comments section. Steve, Steve, your family is watching right now.
Yes, he is, I guess.
Catherine Klimzak, am I saying that right, is
Yep.
watching the program as we speak. Charlotte, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Louisa, Charlottesville, and Crozet. Thank you for joining us. Patty, your show is yours.
Nice. Well, one thing that was really inspiring when I went to Orapax for the first time is, I was raised with hunting dogs of different kinds. Pointers when I was little, and then foxhounds until as long as 10 years ago. So I'm really familiar with hunting dogs, but I was very fascinated with these dogs because when he said sit, by God, they sat. And they were tight, they were professional, they were ready to go, and they were just so obedient. And when I asked Neal about, what makes his dogs different, I'm going to let him answer that because there's a lot of obedience and therapy work that his dogs enjoy doing other than just working. And my take on this is, if you can't teach your dog how to be obedient in your backyard, his dogs are on 700 acres. You better make sure you have some recall. You better make sure that your dogs understand what they're supposed to do. So maybe Neal would like to say about how he starts puppies and what do they do? Yeah.
Found that out.
Yeah. There's really, having a dog that behaves like this, it's not magic. It's consistent training for a lifetime. It doesn't end after year 1. We train our dogs for life. The method I use is actually grounded in a system called the Huntsmith method. Started a long time ago by a guy named Delmar Smith. And his son is a friend of mine. His name is Rick Smith. He's probably one of the most famous dog trainers in the world. It's probably one of the most popular systems in the world to train bird dogs and gun dogs in general. She's trying to lay down a little bit there. It's the silent command system. We don't use our mouths to give instruction until the dog actually learns the command. The dog has to do 3 things by the time it's ready to hunt in the field or even leave the yard. It has to stay with me by my side, standing. It has to go willingly with me on a loose lead, and it has to come to me. If it can do those 3 things, it can bird hunt. Because everything is grounded in those 3 things.
You'd be amazed how many family pets can't do that.
And how many sporting dogs. I
God.
would say 80% of the people that come hunt with us, their dogs cannot stand still next to them.
Right.
So, and then they wonder why their dogs get out there and have problems in the field and bump birds. It's because they can't stand still in their yard. If you can't stand still in the yard, you can't stand still on birds.
I often think that if people were to learn methods like this, I'd be happy to not ever sell a retractable lead or a harness or anything like. Well, I don't sell retractable leads. I don't believe them, and I don't think they're good things. But harnesses because they're dogs pull. I mean, come on, let's teach your dog how to walk, and they should walk with you on a loose lead, or maybe not even with the lead. They should be with you, right with you.
You know,
I love this.
I have 2 German Shepherds, very intelligent dogs. One of them's 120 pounds, the other one's 105 pounds. So these dogs are not as well trained as Lily, but well trained. And what I found through, I guess now 4 dogs in our time, when you have a dog that is well trained, that listens, that experience with your loved one, your animal, is taken to a completely different level. Like taking my dog, and it's not nearly what your dog is doing, but taking my dog from home down the downtown mall, or from my home from a car to the dog park, past the playground and other dogs, or taking my home along a walk just around the neighborhood, and trusting and knowing the dog can be there and listen, and you don't have to worry about a 130-pound dog scaring the you-know-what out of somebody.
Right.
Takes that relationship to a completely different level. Show is yours on that top.
Yeah, that's something, I mean, it is, Neal's right, it's absolutely paramount. You have to have that mutual respect relationship with the dog. I mean, anybody that's been to my farm has met our Malinois Duke, who is wonderful, completely hand command, very silent, respectful dog. And then there's Max. And I love
He's the
Max.
exception.
He's very, well, let's just say he's about to go to Kauder boot camp.
Uh-oh.
So he'll hopefully be brought around. But when you're in the field and you have multiple people and multiple moving parts, and safety is always first and foremost. You can't stay safe if you're constantly having to, where is Scruffy going? Why isn't Scruffy staying with me? Why is Scruffy keep going over here and trying to pick a fight with this other guy's dog? And it's, you have to have that full mutual respect, for the other dogs, for the other people, that whole dynamic. And that's where Neal and his training system that he's put in place is just, it's worth its weight in gold.
Right.
Just absolutely worth its weight in gold.
And especially when you're out in the big field, like one thing I noticed, your dogs did not waste energy. They knew where they were going.
Yeah.
They knew what they were supposed to find and where their parameters were to find it as you were directing them. And it wasn't wasted energy. They've got to be out there all day. So, why waste your energy? Then don't get exhausted like we were.
Yeah.
Hey, Gail says this. Hey now, be nice to Max.
Oh, that's only because Max visits her and gets treats. So Max has totally gotten her snookered.
You're getting, I know the feeling. You're getting props from Ann Hewitt in Williamsburg, Virginia. She's watching the program as we speak. Give it a like and a share on any of the streams that you're watching. Let's throw this to you. You undoubtedly have made your passion a big part of your life.
Huge part, yeah.
Walk us through that road. How did it transpire? Give us the flip book of that.
Well, first off, I have to say none of this could have been possible without the support of my husband. For any wife to come up and say, "Hey, I think I'm going to quit my, steady income
Doesn't that sound familiar?
and guaranteed path and career, and so I'm going to play with dogs and birds every day of the year." He has been very, very supportive and has helped me. And, he gets voluntold to do a lot of events.
Voluntold, I love that.
That's the word of the year.
He gets voluntold with a lot of events and things like that. But as a matter of fact, he's going to come out and enjoy a hunt with me in a couple of weeks. And, it's just being able to have him support me has been everything. So just with his support, I've been able to go through and do clinics and work with other fellow Paragon instructors. Be able to meet.
Even teach Conrad.
Yeah, he is coachable.
He's right.
Believe it or not, he is coachable.
He's a renegade, but he's coachable.
Yeah, but it's, the reason I love working with Neal and his wife Jane and, the rest of their staff at Orapax is because they're kind of on that same plane and level as I am, that everybody that is interested in this sport should be giving just air an opportunity. Come out, try it. We'll make sure you stay safe. We'll make sure that you have a great time. And that's, Patty's been on several lessons with me, and she knows, if nothing else, if we don't hit enough clay birds, we certainly have a great time.
We laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. So it's been just one of those things where you wake up every morning, you go, God, I really get to do this.
Yep.
I get to do this every day, and
You're lucky.
I really am. I'm
Well,
very,
like that.
very lucky.
You wake up in the morning and go, what am I doing today?
Well, and
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't, and we'll throw this to Neal. I don't think we should take it. I try not to take this for granted. Our company, 12 years old in May. I get up every day and absolutely love
See?
what I do. Like it's,
Yep.
I'm hesitant to say this out loud. I would do it for free. That's how much I love to do this.
That'd be
Be
okay.
careful, you're being recorded.
I know. That's why I'm hesitant. But
I'd be good with that.
it's
Yeah.
same with you. I mean, it just makes it that much easier. Throw that topic to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a daytime job on top of this job, so I'm not there yet, But I've had a consulting business for 25 years that's unrelated to dog work, but I got into this because my father-in-law was in it, and he's been doing it for so long, and I was really into bass fishing before I was into dog hunting.
Whoa. What was your other
training.
job?
And what's that?
What'd you do before this?
But,
He's got a
Your other
consulting
job.
firm.
I've got a consulting firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so, a successful one. I've been doing that, but to get out of the office and to get in the fields, and I've always been an outdoor person. But he had Llewellyns. Why Llewellyn Setters? Well, because he had Llewellyns. It could have easily been Brittany's or
Yeah, I've
English
always
Pointers or
wondered why.
Griffons. Yeah.
Look at her.
Yeah.
She said, "Why?" Lily says, "Why wouldn't
Why
you want
not
one?"
Llewellyn?
Look at her.
And now
She's
now we
gorgeous.
raise them too. So we put a litter or two on the ground if we can every year or two. So
Why do you like this temperament of this dog as opposed to maybe something like a Brittany or an English or something different?
That's a great question, and the answer is a well-trained dog. I like them all.
There you go.
That's what it's really true. A Brittany, an English Pointer, a Griff, it doesn't really matter. A Drottar, that's for Jonathan.
What?
And
What?
a German Wired Hair Pointer. Now he's going to kill me for that, but genetically similar or the same, but they have to pass certain tests to be called a Drottar. And Drottar is a really neat dog, versatile breed. The Pearsons that Jonathan was one of the persons that shouted out here. They have a wonderful system in their family of dog training and breeding, and
Nice.
Probably.
I feel like you need a sword and like a Viking outfit if you own a drop.
Right.
Yeah, they're
You're like a Viking.
Yeah.
no, they're really neat dogs, and they're
I've gotta see
higher
this.
profile and have to be. They're not for everybody, but
Right.
they are for people that it's not the type of dog you'd want to have in your apartment. And not
Right.
Get out and get some exercise. Nor would you want with these setters as well. These Llewellyn Setters are highly bred, deep pedigrees that are born, raised, and they're line bred to be very, very quick on the ground, get under the brush, do their job, stay on point, go all day long in the heat, in the cold, whatever it takes to get the job done.
I know we've got some really interesting pictures. While you're talking, I think Judith's probably showing them of what these dogs do. When you mentioned the water, just then, in the heat all day, you even have a special way of the way you water the dogs. when you're out
These
there,
dogs
right?
want to hunt in 20-degree weather. If it's
Right.
70 out, you've got to make sure they're hydrated. You got to
Right.
keep the dog safety is really critical, and you have to make sure they can get into water and that they can drink water and they stay hydrated, or they can get heat stroke and bad things can happen quickly.
Right.
So we got to be aware of that. But the Llewellyns are really not recognized as an AKC breed. It would be if we registered the dog AKC, it would be an English setter. So this is registered through what's called Federal Dog Stud Book, which is FDSB. That's how they're registered.
Ooh, that is specialized.
Field Dog Stud Book. So it's these dogs, and Llewellyn Setters in particular, have to be. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
Some hydration right there.
from
That's right.
from the hockey bottle. These dogs have to be a Llewellyn Setter. Both parents of that dog have to be DNA certified Llewellyn Setters. So there are a lot of English setters out there. The best ones in the field are going to have some Llewellyn in it, but not the other way around.
Interesting.
If you're a Llewellyn Setter, you don't have any. You are Llewellyn all the way back to 1890.
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. And we'll relay some commentary for some of the viewers. Is it Ben Zell?
Yep.
Ben XEL.
Yep.
He's giving you some props now, watching
right.
the program in Richmond. Rawlings Cumbia.
Yeah, he's got one of my puppies.
Hey, Neal
Nice.
and Lily. Love seeing you guys on the show. You guys are getting some love as well from Samantha Filsinger.
Phil, yeah,
She's-
her husband Jeff has Scout. Yeah.
She's
Nice.
watching the program now. Sam McGrain, Mark Wogman, April Marshall, Cameron Wells Marsh, Lauren, just to name a few. Crozet, Almore, Richmond, Fluvanna, Martinsville, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Nashville.
Martinsville.
Welcome
Holy
to the
smokes.
program. We got some questions coming in. Can I throw
Yep.
questions to you?
Yeah.
How about this question here? This question comes in. If we'd like to get into hunting with a dog, do you suggest we try it out first with you guys as opposed to just going in ourselves on our own? I mean, that's right there is kind of I guess a startup question. You
Yeah.
probably get this a lot.
Do, and actually, it's a new relationship that I've started with Orapax this year. For 2019, 2020, we started doing something, beginner upland hunts. And basically, it's for anyone that ever said, hey, you know what, I think I want to try that, but did not want to go ahead and make the financial commitment of the clothes, the equipment, the dog, the whole 9 yards, because it may not stick. You may not like it. I've had absolutely zero people come out and say, oh yeah, I hated it, I'll never be back. I've actually had people come out and say, why did I not do this sooner?
Like
you know,
me.
I've got one woman that, you know, Donna, she's been with me for, I guess, like 2 years now, coming out to different events, and oh no, just, you know, strictly clays, and then came out to a beginner hunt, and I think you might have guided us.
Okay.
She turned around after about the first 20 minutes, and she's like, I have got to bring my husband and my son, and just we have got to come back. This is fantastic. And the biggest thing that stuck with her was the fact that she was able to watch these dogs work and watch
Right.
what these dogs can do. And that's what gets everybody, is they're seeing this particular breed, this dog that is just an absolute love with its job. And it's just, I mean, it's just so cool to watch them work the field, and especially when you've got multiple dogs on the ground.
I mean, if nothing else, if you're a busy person, you live in town, whatever you do, if you're a busy day, just being able to be outside on this
Oh, yeah.
preserve, and it's quiet.
Yeah,
You
just for
think
2 or
it's
3
quiet, and you're
hours.
starting to listen to nature and what's going on out there, and you're watching the birds and watching signals that the wild animals that are up in the trees, whatever, are giving you that. Hey, things are going on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody pay attention. You know, it's just to be able to be a part of that and just be out in the world is just a really nice respite from what you do in a week. It's really
Yvonne
nice.
is watching the program. She says, Lily is beautiful and so well behaved. Chris in James City County has this question. You mentioned that it takes a lifetime of training for any dog. Was there a point where the dog can really start to get it? And if so, what age?
Yeah, so usually what we call, dogs go through stages of development when you're training them to be a gun dog, and especially a bird dog. We go through puppy development, then you go through something called introduction to the field, and then by the time they're about 11 months old, those dogs are in the field and they're on birds. They're not a finished dog by any means, but they are ready to hunt by 10, 11, 12. Not all of them. Some of them mature a little less rapidly. The Llewellyns are one of them. Llewellyns tend to mature more slow than, let's say, some of the other versatile breeds, but not always. But the idea here is that there's the yawn. That just means she's happy.
She's relaxed.
She's relaxed. But the idea is that by about a year old, 11 months to 13 months, you are able to take your dog and hunt behind your dog. Now, that being said, that means that your dog can stand with you when you walk in front of it, which is hard for a dog to do because that means the dog has to give up possession of the bird. Mm-hmm. So you're now walking in front to flush that bird, and the dog has to stay still. And that is not something that's natural for a predator like a dog that is used to, coming from the wild. The dogs go after the birds, and you're taking that back out.
There's
So
no
we're
way
making-
Max could do that.
He could.
Yeah.
But he's a terrier, right?
Yeah, they learn how to do it, and they just
different job.
He
they
is a
just
terror,
figure-
yes.
yeah. And they have a different job, and they have to do that well. And this thing about these dogs need a job is so true.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, every dog needs a job. I don't care whether it's a sporting breed or working breed or a non-working breed. They all need something to do, or they go crazy.
That's right.
And if people, I do a lot of work with in the non-sporting world with just manners and obedience and problem dogs, whatever it might be. My dog pulls. I can't walk my dog down the road without it pulling. I can't take it to the dog park. Other dogs come up, he tries to pull and gets aggressive when he's on a leash. All that stuff is not that hard to fix if you know what to do. But the idea here is that, with just this consistent training, within about a couple of weeks, that all can be cleaned up very easily, very easily. It's not just a sporting breed like a setter or a Brittany or a pointer. It doesn't matter. It can be an all-American breed dog, which is now what I guess AKC calls a mixed breed.
That consistency thing that's applicable with dogs, horses, kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you set
Same
what you
thing.
need to have done and be consistent every single time. I mean, and that's how things get done. Right?
People, let's say my dog's tearing apart my house. They're chewing the siding, they're eating the sofa. Well, the first thing is, what do you do with your dog?
Right.
How does your dog let off steam? Well, we get that every night he gets to go walking around the block. That's not enough for an English setter.
No.
And he needs to run for 3-4 miles in open fields. To really exercise a dog, it's not just about walking around the block downtown for 10 minutes.
How did you grow the business? You said 25% growth
Roughly,
every year?
roughly.
That's
roughly.
amazing growth, right?
One of it is we came in and we went, there was my father-in-law is now 90, 91, I'm going to get the year wrong, but so he was not doing anything in the media and social media. So that's the first step is we stepped into, create a website, we stepped into Facebook, and we stepped into Instagram. We did all these different things, and that in and of itself, just as you know, what that does. So that grows your business in and of itself. We started to get out, and we developed a very close relationship with Green Top Sporting Goods up in Ashland. At one of the
like
very
Christmas.
favorite sporting goods store for people that live in Central Virginia and all over Virginia and probably tri-states. People will pass, I'm not going to mention the stores, but 2 or 3 other big box stores just to get to Green Top to buy their goods. So, it's a
You built a brand.
yeah, we built a brand.
Yeah.
And we, in literally and figuratively, we did all of our logo work. We redid everything. And we do have a brand now.
That's awesome.
I know somebody may ask, like, how do we get involved in something like that? If you don't even know anything about this, I just want to relay how Kate's worked with me. Sporting clays are so much fun. You're outside and you're trying to hit this little, it seems really little at times,
That
piece
nasty
of orange clay
orange
that's
target.
flying through the air at every angle you could think of.
Yeah.
And just learning to work off your eye and not predict everything, but just kind of react and just go with it. That's kind of one of the steps.
Yeah.
Right, and then you gave us instruction on how things operate in the field and where we're supposed to be and how we keep the dogs and Neal safe and keep you safe.
Well, and
there's a lot of instruction that goes with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love doing these beginner hunts, is because you don't just have that 2 or 3 hours with me as a field coach in the field. There's a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time. We have a couple of hours that we're practicing. I'm actually showing you how to safely walk up as if we're pretending there's dogs underneath of us, how to safely carry yourself, remembering that you have partners in the field on either side, that you've got maybe somebody behind you or ahead of you, just teaching you the full parlances of the field. And I think that's where people really become so engaged, is because sometimes you might think, oh, well, how hard could it be? You just go out in the field and take a dog and there's a bird and there you go. But
It's not that easy.
so much
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
And by offering the beginner hunts, this year, I think I did the numbers the other day, we have turned out 24 brand new Virginia Game Department paying members. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So
Good for you.
Right.
Which may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but these are 24 people that
Are new to it.
Are new
Yeah.
to it, and it's not just birds. You know, they might go off and decide to do fishing or fly fishing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Patty and I have both, picked up another expensive hobby.
Yeah. We like sports with accessories, right?
Yes, with fabulous
accessories.
accessories, like hats and things
Like
like
boats.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we like things with feathers and
Yeah.
coordinated outfits and just fun things.
Exactly, but not everyone.
We
I
like
think the
gear.
biggest question that I get is, well, how do I know I'm not going to mess up? Everyone is so afraid that when they come into the field that they're going to, that everyone's going to judge them. And that's why my beginner hunts are strictly beginner. And I tell people, if you've hunted with me more than twice, I'd really prefer you just book a different session with me and just keep these sessions for those people that are on the same level. Everybody's feeling goofy and out of place and not quite sure. And then that way
You're
it's much
teaching
more
a lot of men,
comfortable.
but you also have a lot of women getting involved.
Oh, I think every...
Remember for our March thing that we did with
Yeah.
the casting too?
Yeah, I think every single. See, I've got. Well, with the upcoming hunt I have in 2 weeks, that'll be 7 hunts this season with Orapax, and every single one had at least 2 or 3 women out of the party of 4 or 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we really like, it always involves wine. So we can give a,
Well,
can we
we
give a
can't-
shout out to
yeah.
Mount Ida right now?
yeah, Mount Ida, love
After the
them.
hunt.
Afterwards,
Yes,
right.
strictly after the
afterwards.
hunt. But and we
Yeah,
do
great tailgate.
while the birds are being cleaned. The facility. If you've never been to Orapax, I mean, they offer fishing and other activities as well. They've got this big, beautiful barn, which is phenomenal for events. Take a little ride down 6. Go check out the property. Say hi to Jane and Missy and the rest of the staff. And
And what's that corgi's name?
Winnie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, take a biscuit for Winnie.
That corgi's got my heart.
Yeah, she wants to be a bird dog so bad.
Yeah, she gets to run with them in the fields.
She wants to
Yeah.
hang out with Aunt Patty for a day.
Yes, I'm sure she does.
Joe Throckmorton watching the program. He says, Neal, you guys are looking so good right now. How about this question for you? With your facility.
Joe's a great guide for us, by the way.
Tell us about Joe.
He's got German short-hair pointers. He travels all over and gets into trials, and he's very well respected around the farm. We had to talk him into guiding for us, and he's just a really good guy. People love to go out with him. He's got a great family. I've hunted with him and his son before, and personal friends of them. They're just great people.
I would love to hear the parallels or like the common ground or similarities between your consulting firm and training
Ooh, that's rough.
and training dog. I mean, is there any similarity? I mean, you got to look at each with an analytical mindset.
Yeah, that's a great question. I hadn't been asked that one before. So what I do, data analytics is what we do in my day
9 to
job.
5.
The one that pays all the bills, right? Or at least most of the bills. No, it takes a methodical approach, and everything we do is stepwise, and we have to.
You're a systems guy, aren't you?
Yeah. And, you don't. And the Huntsmith method is a very, very stepwise method. You don't skip a step, and when the dog fails, it's okay. You just go back to the last successful step, and you repeat it, and you move forward again. So you always have, and you do that with research as well. And data analytics is, you try different things, and then you go back and you start building on the successful ones. And you identify best practices in research. You identify best practices with dog work. Even though everything we do is grounded in this Huntsmith silent command system, we've now integrated agility into bird dog training.
Awesome.
A guy that I went to train with for a couple times up in Wisconsin, I'll give him a shout out because he's probably one of the best dogmen in the country right now. Sonny Pecars with Hay Creek Kennel. He's done some wonderful things. He runs the Mariposa Ranch as far as the training and guide work in Texas, which is a huge undertaking. I don't know how many dogs they run down there, probably 90 dogs on that preserve.
Yeah.
And he is one of the ones that told me about, if you can get a dog to get to agility the way we're going to do it with bird dogs, and it's not about the speed, it's about the focus, and having a dog pay attention to the agility while we're trying to teach it how to use this command lead right here, then the dog maintains focus on the obstacle rather than on the command lead. So that's what we do is we can move the dogs along much quicker now than we did 50 years ago using the same system.
Kate, you're thinking about getting a dog to raise for hunting.
Yes.
I mean, what kind of dogs are you considering and why?
So if you just kind of Google bird dogs, of course you get just a huge list. I mean, like Neal has said, German short-haired pointers, several types of spaniels and setters and things like that. Because my husband is 6'7".
It's a big guy.
He's a big guy. Yeah, so we like a little bit bigger dog. I also have Percherons, so they're big horses. So ideally, I want a bigger dog that's able to go out into the field and follow along with me on the horse, or a dog that Mike doesn't, break his back bending over just to pet it. So we've kind of narrowed the list down. I've been looking at Italian Spinonis, just as far as for us in our household, we wanted something that was a little bit more laid back, didn't have quite as much energy. The Malinois that we have, we love him dearly, but holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, well, where are you
at
out?
11 years old,
Yeah.
Duke thinks he is 11 weeks old.
Wow.
I mean, he just is nonstop. But he's very well behaved. It's just constant, constant. So we've looked at Spinonis. Griffons, I think, is kind of where we're headed to, though.
Interesting.
And speaking with Neal, he's got some really great contacts, perhaps for me to investigate getting a pup. And I am making the commitment
Oh,
to make
boy.
sure that this dog doesn't follow the tracks of Max.
Oh,
Which
Max,
I
Max
can
is
say,
awesome.
Max is a great dog, and I can take him. He's for those that have not seen pictures on my Facebook page of Max or met him in person.
He's
He
great.
is a 13-pound three-legged terror. And that's because he found out firsthand how big Percheron hooves were. Because again, he doesn't listen.
Right.
And
You got stepped on?
yeah, unfortunately. But you wouldn't know it. We joke and say the fourth leg was creating drag and holding him back. I mean,
He gets after it.
he steps are no
No
problem.
one told them
He-
they didn't have three.
Nope.
yeah, he
That's
still
right.
jumps on the sofa. He's not held back whatsoever. But he's a perfect example of what you don't do with a dog. Because after he had gotten stepped on 4 years ago, it was very difficult for me. Not to mention how difficult it was for poor Max,
Aw.
learning how to live in the world with one less leg. But I let him get away with stuff. And so now that he's turning 8 years old this May, I've just the barking constantly, the neighbors, I'm sure, I think I've had one neighbor say, what, is there a wild animal at your farm? I'm like, no, but there is a Max, so that's where I thought I could do training and things myself. I have no business doing it. I need professional assistance, and that's where I'm going to look to Neal to help.
We know a good trainer.
Yeah, try and help correct Max, and then when we do find the proper bird dog for us to bring into the home, using Neal again to help us lay that much-needed foundation and that really important groundwork, so that dog will have that mutual respect and relationship and be able to work for me in the field.
Felice Taylor says hello.
Oh,
Ryan
nice.
Tuff.
Yeah.
Lauren Pelkey says hello. Neal, you're getting some props from Valerie Stevens. A lot of people watching the show. Before we hear what's coming up, and we're 45 minutes in, why don't we
Nice
take an
bye.
opportunity to spotlight the brands? Where can we find out more about your brand, your business, and interact with it?
Absolutely. Anyone out there, whether you have ever had a chance to go out to a clay field or do any type of shooting like that, VirginiaShootingSports.com. I've got a great website, tells you about who I am, about my certifications, what I do. Most importantly, all you have to do is click on that tab. It says book a class. I made it super easy. I teach out of two different fields. My home field, as I call it, is in Palmyra. Again, just a beautiful drive, just about 45 minutes to an hour west of Richmond. I'm there usually Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I have another field that's east about 30 minutes from Richmond, and that is Old Forge Sporting Clays.
Cool.
The only reason I prefer the Palmyra field at Central Virginia Sporting Clays is because as far as training someone for the field and for a bird hunt, the type of presentations that Brad sets are very lifelike to quail, chukar, pheasants, things like that. So I can usually mimic, especially like if I have somebody training to go out on a waterfowl hunt. There's certain shots that I need to be able to get them used to that and make sure that they understand, again, how to stay safe, with other people and things like that.
Yeah, that's what we did last week. I wanted to know. I had no idea how a pheasant flies. I was
Yeah.
like, do they go up in the air? Do they come
Quickly,
at me?
they fly quickly and high.
Where do they go? So, I mean, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Agnes.
Very cool. And Neal,
Yes.
your business?
So at Orapax.com, very easy to find, Orapax.com. There's a page on training there, all the different training services we offer. And even if you don't need hands-on personal one-on-one training, we do classes on Sundays. We'll start up again in April with that. We're getting ready to end one next week. That's foundation and intermediate, so we take all the way from puppies all the way up to getting dogs on birds. And we also do allow people to come out and train their own dogs, which is a really unique thing, where people can just come out, pay a one-time fee per month, and it's only per month. If you need to skip a month, you don't have to pay. And you can have access to all of our bird training facilities, which includes homing pigeons and traps and launchers and all the things that you need to train a bird dog. So that's something
That's like a gym membership for training.
That's
Exactly.
right.
That's a great idea.
It is.
Yep.
And
Is that new?
we've been doing it for a few years, and a lot of people do it, and they do it with friends.
Yeah.
And it's a way to meet other people that are
Sure.
also training, and they're doing the same thing. They're trying to get certified for a particular hunt test, and people love it. And you need property and you need the equipment
Of course.
to train. And it's
That's a great
place.
idea.
Yeah, so you should come.
I
Bring your
should.
dog.
You would love it, Jerry. You would.
Leo and I have a Max. Leo and Max would
Do
love
you?
it as well. Yeah, we live in Charlottesville.
You would love coming
Run
out.
your dogs, yeah. And there's waterways and all kinds of stuff out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I think this has been, and no offense to Liza, Liza's obviously incredibly well trained. This dog right here has been sitting on a chair for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Unbelievably
And
trained
yawning
dog.
and smiling.
Right.
She's totally relaxed.
Yeah.
She's probably more relaxed than some of the guests we have on here.
Undoubtedly.
You know?
Well, a third of our guests, not anyone on today's set, but a third of our guests are taking a little brown juice courage over
Possibly.
there before they come on the
Possibly.
show.
I was tempted.
Literally, that's true. A third of the
only
people.
because there was Angel's Envy over there.
That's your
where-
favorite?
Yeah, that's pretty
That
phenomenal.
is good stuff.
Whatever it takes, right?
Patty Zeller, what's
Yes.
coming up?
Oh my goodness. Well, we've got big dogs in the house next week. We have Linda King, who breeds Irish Wolfhounds, one of my favorite breeds. She is very active in the Charlottesville Albemarle Kennel Club, and we're going to be talking about upcoming dog shows that she has, that they have, and then some agility trials that they have coming up. And I have a special fondness for her because her Irish Wolfhounds were bred by the same gentleman that bred my Irish Wolfhound up in Pennsylvania, so that's kind of cool. And then when I'm at Global Pet, traipsing around through the trade show, Mary Burkholtz
Caring for creatures.
She's taken the chair.
Fluvanna County.
That's right. She's taken the chair, and you guys are going to have fun, and she's going to talk about some neat things going on at the sanctuary and,
Love it.
and some rescue pets that she wants to talk about. And the show is hers that day.
Liza,
Yeah.
a Caring for Creatures rescue.
That's right. That's right. Thank goodness we found Liza. You know?
You're getting
She does a
props
great
from
job.
Brant Toolage and Columbia, South Carolina.
Got another one of my puppies.
I love it. Great show.
Thank you. Yeah. See?
This show
Yeah.
will be archived on animalconnectionva.com, and we will syndicate it for 2 weeks across the I Love CVille Network. Thank you so much to Neal and Kate for joining us. You guys have a
And
good
Lily.
afternoon. And Lily.
That's right.
Have a good
It's the star
afternoon.
of the show. All right. There we go.
Awesome. That was fantastic.
You lived.
Yeah, no, that was
You
easy.
lived.
That actually went by really
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
The-